Mr. Speaker, last night New Zealanders had the privilege to witness the greatest finish to the greatest day in New Zealand's one-day history. There will be a period, Mr. Speaker, when we can reflect on the wider benefits of this Cricket World Cup, but right now, sir, it is all about the team. And New Zealanders have been enthralled for the last 6 weeks with a range of stellar performances which have absolutely uplifted the country. We've seen Brendan McCullum leading from the front, taking apart various bowling attacks, ably supported by a great seam attack, people like Trent Boult, Tim Southey, Kane Williamson stepping up when needed, Dan Vittori putting in a consistent string of excellent performances, and of course last night when it really counted, when it was really stacked against the team, Grant Elliott, otherwise known as the Hairy Javelin, stepping up to guide New Zealand to victory with an outstanding 84 not out off 73 balls. And I don't think there'll be a New Zealand cricket fan that witnessed that last night that won't take the image of that final 6 over long on to their graves. Mr. Speaker, that was a wonderful performance, but this is a wonderful group of young New Zealanders, and I think the way they reacted with humility in victory, their graciousness, the way they talked to the Proteas afterwards, who were obviously very disappointed with what was a shattering experience for them, points to the character of this team. Brendan McCullum is an outstanding leader. Mike Hesson has coached that team fantastically. And, Mr. Speaker, we're in the World Cup final in Melbourne on Sunday. 4.4 million New Zealanders are behind that team. As Brendan McCullum says on TV, dare to believe, Mr. Speaker. We do dare to believe, and I think this team is going to do very, very well on Sunday. So go hard, go well, and go the Black Caps in Melbourne.
Question is that the motion be agreed to.
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr. Speaker, I want on behalf of the Labour opposition to join with Dr Coleman in his best wishes for the team. It is a slightly unusual approach. We normally wait until after the final in these circumstances, but I can see he wanted to get in while the Prime Minister was away. Mr. Speaker, it is a magnificent team, and I think we are all growing to believe that they can do it. I have noted, as one goes back on the Facebook feeds, and we did note that Grant Elliott was described as an ageing bit-part player when he was selected by a member of this House. And I want to say that as an ageing bit-part player, sometimes the less mature people don't quite appreciate what we can do.
Mr. Speaker.
Materia today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It was a hell of a match, Mr. Speaker, and I too was glued to my seat last night, but because I was stuck in meetings, important ones, I also had my finger glued to Twitter, which provided me with this in-depth and increasingly hyperbolic analysis of the game, and especially the descriptions of everybody's mums who were either in the kitchen hiding and cringing or shouting at the TV, it seemed. But I was yesterday in the company of thousands of New Zealanders who revelled in the victory and who join us in congratulating Brendan McCullum and the New Zealand Black Caps for reaching, finally, the final of the ICC World Cup. Mr. Speaker, New Zealand is a world beater. We are a tiny nation of underdogs and we consistently punch above our weight. We are people who bravely push the boundaries and, in the case of the Black Caps, in their efforts last night, score them mercilessly as well. I want to make special mention of the Hairy Javelin, Grant Elliott, who compiled a superb innings of 84 not out, including hitting the winning 6. And, sir, note that Grant and the Greens share a passion. I learned from Twitter last night that his profile says that he is into energy efficiency and a green future. That makes me doubly proud, and I'd quite happily buy him a coffee any day. A match, jealous, a match that has it all. A match that has it all, as yesterday's did, doesn't happen unless both teams perform superbly. And I express my commiserations to AB de Villiers and his South African team. South Africa played a huge cricket game last night. They didn't deserve to lose. Their problem was that New Zealand deserved to win. So now it's off to Melbourne and the Black Caps' first ever World Cup final. On behalf of the Green Party, I want to wish them all the best and to bring it back. No pressure. Kia ora.
Mr. Speaker.
Mahesh Bindra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to take this call proudly on behalf of New Zealand First. What a game, Mr. Speaker. Cricket used to be in every New Zealander Indian's bloodstream. It is in our bone marrow now. I don't have many nights left for Sunday, Mr. Speaker, but it was an emotional roller coaster that was mesmerizing, sickening, and pulsating all at the same time. For anyone who has played cricket at any level, this game had it all. I had text updates, and at the 30-over mark, when South Africa were batting, I genuinely thought we were looking at a run chase in the mid-300s. Then God put his black cap on, and it rained. I wonder if some babies to be born in 9 months' time will feature Duckworth-Lewis in their name. In response, Brendan McCullum blasted and then fell. We had a run-out as our heroes from previous matches fell. There were starts, but we needed a partnership to win. Step up Grant Elliott and Corey Anderson. Step up Daniel Vettori, who somehow squeezed that impossible 4 when we most needed it. But the best comment goes to Grant Elliott, whose modus operandi was, as he put it, see ball, hit ball. It worked. He became the beaver of this World Cup. The match was like 2 old ships of the line slugging it out, where one mistake would be cruelly punished. Can I pay tribute to the South African team? The cruelty of sport was written over their crushed expressions as that ball sailed high and wide and into the stands for 6. These 2 exceptional teams played hard but fair. This ought to have been the final because both teams deserved to be there, but there only can be one. So we are in the final for the first time ever, proving that rankings and the history book count for nothing in the here and now. The Black Caps will now face one of the 2 other dynamos of world cricket, India or Australia. It is somewhat like Northland, where Winston Peters is fighting both history and the sledging of national. But I digress. So, does it hurt? So last night proved that underdogs do win, and that fairy tale endings can happen. The AB de Villiers, who must be reliving every lost opportunity from last night, don't. You, sir, and your team were gentlemen for your country and the sport of cricket. South Africa proved as gallant in defeat as they would have, I know, in victory. I think one English commentator wrote words to the effect, no sledging, it is possible. To the Black Caps, but especially coach Mike Hesson and captain Brendan McCullum, you have done our nation proud. Go the Black Caps.
Mr. Speaker.
Marama Fox.
Mr. Speaker, I want to add my congratulations with all of those who have taken up the sport of tipney cricket in the backyard, who pulled out their esky and chucked it on the beach and bowled googly little things down. This is the extent of my cricketing knowledge, you understand. Googly little overarms that passes something that looks like a bowl at the cricket down on the beach. But I was just like everybody else, amazed at the performance. I'm a loyalist at heart. I'll back the underdog forever. Not sure if you've noticed that, but there's something about me. And I watched the team, and we got to about 10 overs out, and I was doing the back of the envelope math, and I thought, we can do it. We can do it, New Zealand. I have to admit, I fell asleep. Shame. I know, the sin. But I was woken. I was awoken to the screaming and the jumping up and down. And I did try and watch the riveting debates that were going on around harmful digital technologies, and that might have been what put me to sleep. But I did wake up in time to see that it was all down to the last 2 balls. And like everyone else, all over the country, children were being awoken from their sleep. Wives were being disturbed from their rest, and women were jumping out and disturbing their husbands who might have been trying to watch something else. But I want to note this. I went straight to Twitter, and this is what A.B. de Villiers tweeted last night. He said, "It was an amazing game of cricket. This was probably the most electric crowd I've ever played in front of." And then he also tweeted, "I couldn't ask any more from my boys. It's hurting quite a bit, but we gave it our all." And I think that sense of fair play, the distinguished way in which they took this very hard loss, points to the calibre of this team. I don't want to put the hootie on our team, the hootie-gootie. I don't know what you call it, but that's what we call it. I don't want to put that. Yes, I don't want to, tempt fate. But I want to add my best wishes with everybody else to the Black Caps for the upcoming final. I know we can do it. Go the boys.
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Peter Dunn.
Mr Speaker, as Dale Steyn prepared to bowl those last couple of balls to Grant Elliott last night, a most irreverent thought crossed my mind, and that was that I hope he bowled them overarm, because it did remind me of a great occasion in the past when a lot was riding on the outcome of a match and a certain incident occurred. And then I thought, actually, that would have been totally inappropriate in the spirit of that game because of the camaraderie, the intense competition and the sheer delight of all who took part. Even though the South Africans were reduced to grief and tears at the end, that was the sheer emotional outpouring of what had been an extraordinary occasion. When you looked around the scenes in the crowd, Mr Speaker, and you saw people standing there with their hands to their cheeks for those last couple of overs, a bit like Munch's famous painting, the reality was that this was a country riding on the outcome of this spectacular occasion. And Grant Elliott, long the butt of criticism, did that great New Zealand thing of defying the critics by coming right and hitting the winning runs. But, Mr Speaker, that achievement last night, extraordinary, wonderful and uplifting as it was, is a memory today. There's a bigger challenge ahead on Sunday. And we wish the Black Caps every success at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. We wish them good fortune. We wish them favourable weather conditions, and forget Duckworth Lewis for once. And we wish them success and triumph. And, Mr Speaker, when we resume in this House next Tuesday, let that be the victory that we celebrate. Let that be the occasion for the letting off of a huge amount of support and hysteria. And maybe, Mr Speaker, if the government saw fit today to move this motion on the semi-final, they may choose to adjourn the House in celebration for the week once we win the final. So go the Black Caps on Sunday.
Mr Speaker.
David Seymour.
Mr Speaker, I think the views have been fairly well canvassed, but on behalf of the ACT Party, I'd like to congratulate the boys on a sensational performance from both teams last night, and without jinxing anybody, wish our team the best of luck come Sunday. And if you were to make one observation about this game and our success so far, it's not so long ago that there was a serious debate about whether or not we could afford to leave a particular star player out of the team when he wasn't fitting into the team. And I think what this team has shown is that you cannot afford to rely on just one star player when you have a large team. In fact, Mr Speaker, I think it's fair to say that the New Zealand First Caucus has demonstrated this pretty ably recently too. However, what the New Zealand cricket team have shown is that a playing team will always beat a team of players, and on Sunday they go with our blessing. Thank you.
Well, Mr Speaker, on Sunday there is a final of the World Cricket Cup match, and the Black Caps will make history, and we in New Zealand will all be rightfully proud of that performance. But, Mr Speaker, The curtain raiser for that match will be played on Saturday, and it'll be played in Northland, and it'll be played as the Northland by-election in an electorate that has been held by National for over 77 years, and that too will produce a result that will be historical.